Let's bring in right now the President Emeritus of the Council on Foreign Relations, Richard Haass. And Richard, let's ignore for a second the cheerleading from the SecDef and focus instead on what the Secretary of State said, which actually is in line. And I'm bringing this up only because we discussed all last week about how the president had two bad options in front of him. If the president had decided not to move, what the United States, or what the United Nations' own agency, the IAEA, said that the Iranians had a stockpile of uranium enriched to 60%, enough to build several weapons, and that their breakout time was a couple of weeks. So they certainly were closer to that than they had been in some time. So the president moved. The question obviously will be how badly were these sites damaged, and now where is that enriched uranium? First of all, take us through your thoughts on the strikes, their effectiveness, and where we are now, what the White House should be focusing on.
Sure, Joe. Look, I think the strike was warranted. You know, the one thing no one can debate here, whatever else Iran was doing, it was not collecting uranium to generate electricity. What they wanted to do was to put into place all the prerequisites for nuclear weapons. They hadn't crossed the line. I think the intelligence report is probably right that they hadn't had the order. They certainly hadn't weaponized. It was a discretionary action on our part, a war of choice. These were preventive military actions. The Iranian threat was not imminent, but it had gathered. I think it was inevitable this was going to happen, and it finally happened. So that, and what this is in some ways the second phase of this war, Joe. The first phase was Israeli, second phase was American. What did we, we hit the facilities. What we don't know is how much of the Iranian program survived. They had, they obviously had things at undisclosed locations. They may have moved stuff out. So that's where the Secretary of Defense's comments are just downright silly. This was not the final blow against anything. Indeed, that's one of the real issues here, that Iran, how much survived. My point is, though, that we've now moved to a third phase of this crisis. First, when the Israelis took it to Iran, then the United States took it to Iran. Now it's on Iran to decide how they're going to respond. In a funny sort of way, the initiative has passed to them. My own analysis, for what it's worth, is I think they are unlikely to go after the United States right now. If my reading of the Iranians is their priorities are regime maintenance, and second of all, I think they're thinking about the long-term health of their nuclear and military programs. So I don't feel they are sitting in a situation where they have to respond right away. So if I were advising the president, I would say put away your phone. No more talk about regime change, because then it becomes a total war against Iran. Reinforce the messaging of a specific narrow war against the nuclear programs. The Iranians and the Israelis will continue to duke it out. But I think the United States essentially did what it did, and now it ought to pull back. Because, again, globally, we do not want the Middle East to once again become the magnet for America's role in the world. We've got Europe, we've got Asia. We did what we did. I think it was warranted. But now we don't want this to become bigger than it needs to be.
Well, that certainly is the reporting that Jonathan and I got this weekend out of the White House, is they do want more of a one-and-done situation. It reminds me of after the killing of Soleimani, the Iranians fired some missiles at U.S. bases, then immediately started calling our allies and notifying our allies. That's it. We needed a response. Tell the United States there will be nothing else after that. I'm not sure they're going to be doing that this time, but I would be surprised if they did more than just focus on maintaining their regime right now, because it is weakened and battered. And Jonathan, again, just circling back, because it's so important for people to understand, there were two bad choices. The president could do nothing, and then we would be wandering around in darkness, not knowing how quickly they were moving towards developing nuclear weapons quickly. Again, the United Nations agency said it was a 2-week breakout period from the time the order was given. We don't ever want to be in that position where you're talking about the country that's been the epicenter of terrorism since 1979. But the Financial Times also talking about how this action also made us move into a point where, as they say, that we as a country now, quote, step into the dark, not knowing what's next.
Yeah, no, you're right. And look, the White House and Trump, they wanted a deal. They wanted a diplomatic deal. There was a good faith effort. And then the 60 days that the president had sort of given as a deadline came and went. Israel went forward. And now here we are. And you mentioned that editorial with the headline.
Jonathan, really quickly, if I could just say one more time, and I brought this up before, there is reporting that Donald Trump himself was willing to go to Turkey if the supreme leader of Iran would go to Turkey, meet face to face to try to get a deal. And the Iranians refused to do that deal, refused to make any deal, even after the 60 days. And then the bombing by the Israelis.
Yeah, there was this hope for a meeting. Iran didn't get it. There was some reporting that they got late notice of that simply because the regime is such in tatters, it's impossible to get messages to their leadership. So let's talk about that editorial now, titled Trump's Step into the Dark. And the editorial board of the Financial Times writes in part this: Trump and America have taken a dangerous step into the dark. The Western world has been rightly united in wanting to deprive Iran of developing nuclear weapons and in demanding that Tehran stops its support for radical proxies in the region. But a few weeks of diplomacy by Trump is hardly a credible process to justify military action. The U.S. president has calculated that Iran's weakness and Israel's success present a unique opportunity to strike Iran. Perhaps perturbed by suggestions that he does not follow through on his threats and frustrated by the failures of his peacemaking efforts in Ukraine and the Middle East, he, meaning Trump, saw a quick win by associating himself with Netanyahu's mission. But he has also taken a huge gamble, stunning his own isolationist base and setting up the Middle East for more instability and crisis. And Joe, I think we talked about the MAGA. We've talked a lot in the last week or so about the MAGA base. And yes, there's plenty of pushback before the strike. It's been pretty muted since. So let's see what happens in the days ahead. The more important thing I feel like from that editorial is simply we don't know what happens next. There's still no, and we won't know for a few days, an accurate assessment of the damage that the U.S. did inflict on these sites and what Iran is even capable of doing in terms of retaliation.
Yeah, and it would be good. It would behoove the Secretary of Defense not to feel like he needs to be a cheerleader and go out with his mission accomplished, message, because we've seen how that's turned out in the past. They did the strikes. The strikes seem to be successful, at least technically. We'll see what happens there. Richard, I want to circle back to you because, again, I'm going to say what I said off the top of the show at 6 a.m. for those that are just tuning in. And I'm always reminded of what Henry Kissinger said: when you had a big decision, you never had a decision between, you never had a good option and a bad option. It was always two bad options. And all last week, that's something I kept talking about. I said, no matter what Donald Trump does, he's going to be criticized. There are two bad options right now. There is the walking into the darkness, not knowing what this attack is going to bring. But then there was also the walking into the darkness if we did absolutely nothing. And I just want to ask you, Richard, just for all of our friends that are watching right now, let's look at the president since we'll go back to Bush 41. If they were put in this position and they had a decision to make with a seriously degraded Iranian defense system, basically no air defense, word out of the United Nations that Iran, by their estimates, Iran had enriched enough uranium to 60% to have a two-week breakout period before they're able to make have enough uranium to make several nuclear weapons. I'm just curious if Bush 41 or Bush 43 or Bill Clinton or Hillary Clinton or even Joe Biden were given that choice, what would they do? Would they sit back with Iran actually being warned by the United Nations that they had stepped over the line? They were at 60%, that they were 2 weeks away from being able to have enough uranium to develop several weapons. Would any of those political figures walked away from a chance to attack these nuclear sites?
The obvious answer is I don't know. I think there's two issues, Joe. What would they have done, and how would they have done it? I think the big difference certainly would have been in how. I think, say, Bush 41, if you think about the run-up to the Gulf War, dealing internationally with the coalition, dealing with Congress and so forth, I think there would have been a much less unilateral approach. They would have set the stage for it much more carefully, would have gone forward with the intelligence much more, and working behind the International Atomic Energy Agency. So I think that would have been one difference. The question of whether they would have pulled the trigger or not, it's too facile for me to say yes. I think, and I think your point's the critical one here. That there were risks and costs in acting, and there were risks and costs in not acting. In my experience with presidents, different presidents focus more on not acting or acting. By that I mean, for Bush 41 and for Bush 43, as it turns out, they were more concerned about the costs of not acting. And as a result, one went ahead with the Gulf War, one went ahead with the Iraq War. I thought the former, was a stronger one, but let's put that aside. People like President Obama was much more concerned about the costs of acting. And that explains, for example, what he didn't do in the case of Syria, what he didn't do when Russia invaded Ukraine in 2014. And I think that's where the presidents begin to differentiate from one another. In my experience in government, people tend not to focus nearly as much when you're sitting around the sit room. They almost never focus as much on the costs of not acting. And you can look at any proposal to do something and you can talk yourself out of it. And what's so interesting, I thought about 41, 43, and this president, is they did not talk themselves out of acting.